time to get up. Nah. For real. Actual King Smith. Let's go. Wake up. What you sleeping on your life for? Wake up. Every day's a chance for more. Wake up. Hands up. Let the beat thump. Wake up. Hey, wake up. Alarm clock ringing, but your mind still tired. Dreams on snooze, yeah, goals on fire. Everybody talk, but few take steps. Same old excuses, different regrets. I ain't here preaching, I'm here reminded. Pressure make diamonds, timing divine. You got breath in your body, fire in your chest. So why you living like you set up for less? Get up off that couch, move your feet. New mindset every time we meet. No doom scrolling, no fear feed. That's the real talk over funky beats. Wake up. What you sleeping on your life for? Wake up. Every day is a chance for more. Wake up. Hands up, let the beat thump. Wake up. Hey, go. No cape, no crown, still keep energy. Talk my truth, that's my identity. Life get heavy, yeah, I've been stressed. Still showed up, put hard in the test. If they doubt you, good, prove them wrong. Same doubt, fuel, make you go strong. Ain't waiting no luck, I hustle with faith. Mind on progress, foot on the gas and say what? Say now, say move, say how, I say what? Get in the bed, shut up and get up and wake up. It's a moment, don't waste none. Wake up. Sun still rise, so you ain't done. Wake up. Beat knocking, let your soul jump. Wake up. Hey, wake up. Yeah. This ain't motivation. This is a reminder. Wake up.
Yeah, hold on. Make sure my mic is working this time. All right, mic is working. Don't know if my sound effects is working, but you know what? It's all good. What's up? What's happening? Good morning. I am the actual King Smith, and this is Wake Up with the actual King Smith. I had to change my title so that I could fit the under 100 characters that are imposed on some of these platforms. But it is Monday, January the 26th, one of the craziest first couple of 26 days that we've had in a calendar year that I can remember in a long time. Let me turn my light on. There we go. Turn my light on. Hope y'all are doing all right. Hope y'all are doing fine. If you're following me on my YouTube channel, then y'all would have saw that I gave away a gift card to Starbucks just for supporting me. So let me get this out there and put this up there first. Thank y'all for tuning in. It is 7 o'clock in the morning. Y'all could be doing anything else, but you are waking up with your boy here and tapping in on the community, hearing what I have to say. And shout out to Ron Wayne, who saw my community post on YouTube and received his $20. I think I said a $10 initially, but I said, you know what? I'm in a giving mood. So Mr. Ron Wayne got a $20 gift card to Starbucks that he can use to grab himself some coffee and wake up with your boy in the future. So if you're not following me over on YouTube, go follow my YouTube channel at The Actual King Smith, because I do giveaways from time to time to support the people that support me. Shout out to Late Joiner over on Kick with the talking head emoji. Appreciate you for tuning in. And I like that Kick can do those little gifts like that. That's dope. We got Sans1235 in the building on YouTube said, hi and yo, hello. Hey, what's up? Appreciate you tuning in over there on YouTube. Make sure you hit that like button. Today, man, we're going to be live for about 25 more minutes as I have a normal 9-to-5 job here. But we've had some interesting news over the last couple of days. especially if you're somebody that lives here in the United States of America. Now, if you haven't been living under a rock, the first thing I guess we'll say, the weather. It was Snowmageddon 2026 over here, and there was a combination of snow, sleet, and frozen rain that hit your area. And it's disruptive, especially when you have weather that just disrupts people's normal way of life out there. So I know that some people are dealing with that. Other people, however, are making some choices in life. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the choices that people have. We're going to try to have an educated conversation also about ICE, that's Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement, and ask ourselves who they are and what they do, and what you can do as a citizen and a non-citizen if you were to encounter law enforcement. Let's talk about that, because there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt that's out there about what ICE is and what they're doing. And I'd like to kind of highlight some things that I think about so that when I'm out here living life and I encounter something, I'm not living in fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and I'm making smart, informed choices about what's going on in my life. So if you haven't been living under a rock and you've been keeping up with what's going on in the news, there was another death at the hand of federal law enforcement in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I saw a meme that talked about the 4 people that Harambe is looking over, as Harambe was a gorilla that got put down from a zoo in that same state. But you had George Floyd that happened out of Minnesota that sparked national outrage. You had a Miss Renee that not even 2 weeks into January got shot and killed as her vehicle was, how am I going to say this to make sure that I say it properly? She was operating a motor vehicle in the direction of an ICE agent, and she lost her life. I'm going to say it like that. If you hadn't watched the video, go watch the video yourself, and you can ascertain what did or did not occur. And now you have this 37-year-old ICU nurse who was a U.S. citizen by the name of Alex Pretti, and I'm going to put his name on the screen here, Alex Pretti, who got shot and killed this weekend. And there's a lot of people that saw the video, and I can't play I wish I could play the video here to add to the discussion, but due to YouTube guidelines and some of the other platforms, you can't show certain types of violence. So if you want to see the video yourself, which I'm going to say viewer discretion is advised, I'm going to put the link into the comment section here, as I can't just take the link and or I can't take the video and show it myself. Let me see if I can find one of the videos that I saw, go into my history. And again, viewer discretion is advised. Okay, let me go in here. I'm looking for the video, going through my history. Let's do this one. I'm going to put this link here, and I think that this is a good one to watch. And while I do that, shout out to James L. Said, "What's up, man? I'm a sub." Hey, appreciate the sub, James. Thank you. We got Jim H in the building. Said, "Thanks for the content. I enjoy watching your stream while taking my morning dump." I enjoy watching several other content creators while I am taking my my dump. I wish my soundboard was working. I would give you a sound effect for that. But look, I don't care what you're doing. You could be in the middle of having sex while you're watching me. I'd appreciate it either way. What was I doing? I was putting that threw me off. Let me put this in here. So There's a link in the comment section. I'm gonna put it in the description box as well. Once this is done, shout out to Springtrap in the building as well. Appreciate you for tuning in. But Alex Pretti, 37-year-old ICU nurse, U.S. citizen, and he worked kind of who I work for. It's no secret. I'm going to tell y'all what my normal 9 to 5 is. I am a federal employee, and I work for the Department of Veterans Affairs. I work IT, and I work around policy regarding IT. My LinkedIn is very public, and I don't hide that information. I'm not somebody that hides about who I am and what I do. My name on here is The Actual King Smith because my name is actually King Smith. This isn't an avatar. I don't have faceless content. I'm a person just like you and everybody else out there. Okay. 41 years old, served as a U.S. Air Force veteran in a past life. So that's me. Alex Pretti was shot and killed by U.S. Border Patrol agents during a targeted federal immigration enforcement operation 2 days ago. This occurred in January 24, 2026. So here's what happened. All right. ICE, who is Immigration and Customs Enforcement, are in Minneapolis on immigration operations or immigration actions. There is certain intel that they have that they're acting on. And in Minneapolis, in the same city, the city is already tense after another recent killing by federal agents. All right. Now, some people are saying, well, why is ICE in Minnesota? Well, they're just not in Minnesota. I looked this up, and I wish that I had the source here so that I could put it as well, because I did my research and stuff on this yesterday. Here are some of the other major cities that are seeing increased ICE activity. And y'all tell me if there's a certain connection to these cities. Chicago, New York City, Los Angeles, Denver, Boston, and Atlanta. And here are some of the other notable increases that are seeing some surges. Texas in general, Arizona, Florida, Illinois, Colorado, Massachusetts, and Minnesota. Now, I was curious when I was like, well, why are these places in these cities starting to see some of these surges? And some people saying, oh, these are areas or states that have a Democratic backing. So our federal heads of state, if you will, are targeting these places to cause unrest. I don't think that that's the case. I don't think that there is some type of deep state conspiracy to go into these areas to cause unrest, to sway people's political leanings so that they could vote a certain way or have fear and create a narrative that gets people talking about certain areas in certain ways, right? Now, if you think about Texas, Texas has their border, Arizona, let me see, Massachusetts and Colorado. It's where they're centered at. It's where, if you looked at past incidents and past, I'm going to say, state/city actions, where some of these areas have chosen to have policies that are in place that do give certain groups of people the ability to come and hide out. Now, I'm going to pause because I'm going to say this a certain way. And I've talked about this on my channel before. I am somebody that has traveled around the world. Literally, when I was in the military, my job was in aviation, and it afforded me the opportunity to travel. Since I've been out of the military, I haven't traveled as much, but I did just come back from I think it was about a 20-some day trip total, or 14 days or so, when me, my lady, and our daughter went to Japan and to Okinawa, right? So we're there as U.S. citizens, temporarily. And there are certain things that I have to follow being in their country. If a Japanese agent or cop or some type of law enforcement asks me for my ID, I have to produce it. When you're going through customs, they ask you certain questions like, why are you here? Where are you going? And what are you doing while you're here? It's their job. It can feel pretty targeted sometimes. I just went to Canada not too long ago with the same two people that I talked about that I went to Japan with. And the Canadian border enforcement dude, in my opinion, was an absolute dick and an asshole. I wish I had a recording so that y'all could hear the way that this guy was talking. It wasn't to me, it wasn't him doing his job. I think he saw some Americans and he decided to flex and try to show his perceived authority. But the best thing that I could do is I could arm myself with knowledge and information so that if I were to encounter some type of law enforcement, then I'm not doing anything to put myself in a position that's going to cause me issues. Now, what ICE is doing in Minnesota are very targeted things, but what some of these targeted people are doing when our law enforcement is coming after them is they are then choosing to make decisions like going inside of a child care center after ICE have looked and properly identified who they were going after and why they were going after someone and putting other people in danger. Alex Pretti made a choice to go out and protest, and there's nothing wrong with anyone going out and protesting. Yet, in my opinion, people, there is a right way and a wrong way to do something. And what I'm seeing in some of these people are the absolute wrong way to go out and do something. Now, I'm going to say this at the beginning so that people don't misunderstand where I stand on this. I don't think that Alex Pretti deserves to die for what he did. Yet, if you watch the video, what had occurred while he was out there protesting with some other people, there were two ladies that were out blowing their whistles, as this is one of the Minneapolis protesters' strategy. They're out there blowing these whistles, being loud and annoying, if you ask me. And there were two ladies that were, how do I say this? They were too close to federal enforcement operations, and a physical altercation had occurred. And what I saw when I watched the video of Alex Pretti was Alex get in between a federal agent and one of the ladies that had a physical altercation. And what was interesting about this is that when Alex got in the way, he didn't immediately go and start tussling with this federal agent. But the way that they treated Alex versus those two women says what you need to know about gender and how gender is handled in certain situations as well. Because they manhandled, and I said that word very intentionally, Alex, once he got in between the lady and the ICE agent, where it looked like he was just trying to, I'm not going to say give himself up, but he didn't put a posturing stance like he was trying to reach for something to aim and draw fire, or like he was about to go toe-to-toe with this one ICE agent. He got surrounded by about 6 or 7 different agents. One started focusing on the lady, while the other 6 came after him. You didn't see the 6 start swarming her the way that they did when the ICE agent, he violently pushed her back and she went flying to the ground. You didn't see people then swarm on her the way that they did him. Now, ICE is making the claim that or DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, which is the federal arm that ICE sits in. And y'all can correct me if I'm wrong on that one. DHS has claimed that Alex Pretti was armed and approached agents threateningly, and that's when the conflict ensued. But there are multiple accounts and videos and different angles that show that Pretti was holding a phone, not a weapon, and trying to help someone before he was being pepper sprayed and then shot. There was a choice that was made by everybody that's involved. And if you look at the escalation of things, I would say that in most cases, you have maybe, I'm going to say 2%. And this is just an anecdotal number that I'm putting out there. I think that there's a 2%, 2% chance of bad actors going out there intentionally trying to escalate stuff. And those that have a badge, I don't envy their position whatsoever. Some people want to say we need to abolish ICE and abolish like law enforcement. And I'm like, you are smoking crack and living in delusional land if you think that that's the answer that we need to keep our streets and our borders safe here in the U.S. or anywhere for that matter. Laws matter. Enforcement also matters. Are there bad people, bad judges, corrupt individuals that go out and do bad things? Yes, there is. Yes, there is. And when they choose to trample on your rights illegally, it is a problem. It is a problem. There's a guy who has a YouTube channel, John. His YouTube channel is called The Civil Rights Lawyer. I urge you to check out his content. He shares a lot of that stuff where there are bad actors doing bad things. In the case of Minneapolis, Minnesota, several things escalated to the point that Alex Pretti lost his life. His parents are now going to have to attend the funeral of their son, who many people say was a good dude that wanted nothing but to go out and help people. I think if you were to ask people about me, that would be the general consensus that people would say about me as well. I'm not somebody that's going out here trying to infringe on what you got going on. I'm just trying to live my life, get money, and be in peace. And if I can, if I have it within my ability to help somebody out, I'll help them out. I've had to learn to say no here very, very recently, but y'all understand what I'm trying to say. People won't talk about me as a guy that's just a mouth breather and a knuckle dragger, and as somebody that makes bad choices in life. I've made some interesting, not smart choices in life, but in certain areas, no. Like if I were to be out protesting because I felt like I needed to, I felt like I needed to join what was going on in Minneapolis, there are certain things that I would do and not do, like the whole blowing your whistles and getting in between federal agents or any type of law enforcement and the people that they're going after. That's a bad decision. That is a bad decision. Getting my vehicle in the way by itself is a bad decision. Now, should I say what it is that I'm thinking? No, I'm not going to do that. Let me come over here into the comment section and see what people have added here to the mix. Shout out to old boy over on Kick that asked a couple of minutes ago, is this live or a rebroadcast? This is live. I am live right now. Thank you for tuning in. Man, we got a couple of people in the building. All right. Let me see. We got, all right. Federal agents have pretty good aim. I'm all somebody that have that likes a good joke. I think that one's a little bit tasteless. But, okay. Sunset says Arizona does not have unrest. Now, Sunset Farm, Arizona. Why doesn't Arizona have unrest? Because I think that certain people have an understanding of what's the right thing to do and what's not the right thing to do. ICE isn't just doing operations in Minnesota as of right now. There are a surge of ICE operations. And if you go to the DHS's website and ICE's website, and if you look at certain things on Twitter, you can see where these operations are occurring. They're making stuff publicly available. But in these other areas, you don't see the type of unrest like what's happening in Minnesota. And I think Minnesota is it's a ticking time bomb. I don't think it's going to get better. The more we have things happening, I think the more you're going to see more civil unrest. It's not done. Okay. Here in Arizona, we were visited by a fleet of giant, highly advanced alien aircrafts in March 13 of 1997. Give me a source. Shoot me an email at TheActualKingSmith@gmail.com and give me a source. That one's hard to believe. Thousands of people saw the Phoenix Lights. That would be fascinating. Farr said that the people that are doing these bad protests are paid actors. I've heard that one. I have heard that some of the people that are showing up to these places are paid actors. And when you hear that enough times, it makes you wonder if it's true or not. I'm not sure that there are people who show up to these things that are paid actors. What I would like to know is how these people, like I have a normal 9-to-5 job, right? Where I trade time for money. So are these people folks that they're independently wealthy to where they can trade their time and show up to these protests and not have to worry about how they're getting paid? That's what I'd like to know. Gotta happen to me's in the building. That's my boo thing. She said, what amazes me is the number of people who condemn Alex and his actions, specifically carrying a gun, but applaud Kyle Rittenhouse. And people are talking about that too, right? Folks are talking about how Kyle Rittenhouse was able to walk around open carry during his protests. And I will say this. When when Kyle did have the eyes of the federal agents targeting him, he raised his hands. He put his hands up and he followed instructions and was able to walk away from that. Let's see. Desert Tactical said, you're crazy. She was nowhere near any investigation when he threw her down, and all he did was help her get pepper sprayed, help her up, got pepper sprayed, and they tackled him when he couldn't even see the BPO had his firearm when I think that there was more. They murdered him. Look, man, your account and how you see that was I believe is almost accurate. When there were ICE weren't just looking for protesters and people to go after. They were in the middle of an operation on somebody that had been prosecuted and had evaded capture when everything went down. So like when you zoom out, the zoom out part of that matters. I agree that Alex was helping her out. And if I didn't say that way earlier, then let me clean it up a bit. I agree. Alex was trying to help her when he got murdered. And at the beginning, before I went into everything, I said, I don't believe he lost his life, or I don't believe that he deserved to lose his life for what he did. I think he did get executed. That's my position on this. He did not deserve to die from what I saw. There's a clear difference on things when, like, if he were to have had a weapon and he had his weapon drawn, that's a totally different ball game. We're talking about something completely different. But from what I saw, he did not deserve to die for his actions. So we're the same. I'm not going to say the same because I think I know how the rebuttal is going to be. I don't disagree with you on that part. Where I do disagree with you is the people that were out protesting, that were in the streets, and interfering with the enforcement of what the agents were doing. I think there's a different way that you could go about doing that. It wasn't even ICE, it was Border Patrol officers. Yes, I'm sorry. There is some clarity on that too. It was CBP in the case of Alex Pretti. Thank you. And James Kerrigan. All right, so this is if I'm saying this wrong, please give me a source. There was no immigration enforcement in that area at all, just protesters being targeted. In this case, I don't think you're correct, James. But I am also willing to admit that I may be wrong. When I looked up the information on this, I looked it up yesterday, and that was when I brought in the information yesterday from what I could find. All right. Ooh, now here we go. Bringing the race into this. I like this one. I like this one. How many cops have killed black people because they held a phone? This is where things get interesting. And I have to go because I have to get to my 9 to 5 here. The part that's interesting to me about what's occurring in Minneapolis is that when you look at Miss Renee, who got shot and killed a couple of weeks ago, there were 2 other individuals, and I don't have their names, and I wish that I did, but they got shot and injured, but they did not die. And then you have Alex Pretti. They were not people of color, and they lost their life. And I've always said that it's interesting when you look at the racial dynamics of certain things, how the news covers certain stuff and how people respond to bad actors, if you will, right? Like me, as a bearded person of color, it's my opinion that if I were to go out and I'm protesting and I am carrying in a state that I'm licensed to do so, while I understand that legally I can, I also have to accept the fact that I might be treated a lot more hostilely, if that's a word, than somebody that doesn't look like me. And while I don't like that, I get treated differently, or that it is perceived that I am treated differently. When I zoom out, which is what I say to a lot of people, step back, zoom out. What's actually happening? When you take a look at what's actually happening, it allows you to then be able to operate a certain way. So I have to operate a certain way, but I don't do that out of fear. And that's a key thing that I want to say here. If you're going to go to some of these areas and protest, exercise your right to do so, but do it in a manner that allows your ass to be able to go back home to your family when everything is done. Man, there's a lot of comments here, and I wish that I could get to them all. I want to thank y'all for pulling up. We got Opie Flax in the building, said that I'm being fair. I try to be fair. I try to sit right there and look at what's presented and make a determination based on what I'm looking at. And it's always interesting because you can have 5 people look at the same thing, and they're going to have, you could possibly have 5 different interpretations of what's going down. Let me see. We got people that say that it wasn't murder. His own parents told him to stop going to the protests. We got It's Craven here said, thank you for your service. I appreciate you tuning in. God Happened to Me said that it is my prayer that justice and prosecution prevails. That's what I'd like to see. I would like to see justice carried out. I would like to see, when you have bad actors, prosecution that occurs, and not just have things swept under the rug. That's my hope as well. When you see things that are just grossly wrong, that justice and prosecution happens, and it happens in a fair and just manner. Man, all right. Look, I got so many additional comments. Let me see. God Happened to Me. We got Ann Turner said Kyle did not fight against law enforcement. He didn't. No, he complied. That's why I'm like, if you zoom out, there's some differences that have to be put out there, and you do have to highlight that. And in my opinion, Kyle Rittenhouse did not fight against law enforcement. That, and I can agree with. God Happened to Me said there are bots in your comments who are continuing to display their ignorance and illiteracy, and it's appalling. Yeah, when you work in live, you do have to try to discern who's bots and who's not, but there are definitely bots in the building. First of all, that female should not have been in law enforcement's area when they were doing their job. They were instructed to leave, and when they don't, they get pepper sprayed. Doer said, don't want to die, then don't interfere with agents working. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna say this, and then I think I've caught up on some of the comments, and then I've got to bounce. I agree with you. People are there's a convention that's coming up close to where I live, and somebody asked in one of the groups, hey, how are y'all going to act if ICE shows up at the convention? It's a, how do I say this? It's kind of like a Comic-Con. I'm a nerd. And I responded to this person, but I said, I'm not going to change anything about what I'm doing or why I'm there for the convention. If ICE or Customs or whoever decides to show up at this convention that I'm in, it doesn't change the way I operate. It's not going to change why I would go to the convention. The question to me was asked out of fear. And that's the message that I'm trying to convey to people, is don't make decisions out of ignorance and fear. All right. The First Adventure said, I thought right-wingers were all up in arms and against the weaponization of the government. Oh, they meant unless they weaponize it. We got Oil Free Alex said, just because people disagree doesn't mean that they are a bot. All right. Dura said, the only people to blame here are the leftists and politicians telling people to interfere. Are politicians out there telling people to interfere? Was Alex a leftist? Are the other protesters, are they all, are you saying that everybody that's protesting are leftists? And Turner said, Alex was following an app that showed where ICE was, he instigated, knew what he was doing, came with the weapon, got in their face, he puffed up his chest, he knew what he was doing. I saw some of the other videos, now not in particular the one where he got shot, but there was other people, some dash cam footage or whatnot that showed Alex approaching federal agents, and then agents kind of engaging with them, and then he backed off. Man, that pimple on my face is really showing up in 4K. Deacon Lamont Russell said some were ICE agents and some were Border Patrol agents. Thank you for clarifying that up. And I can't keep up with these comments. Y'all pulled in for this one. Opie Flack said everyone made mistakes to include the man who was killed. That's why I land at the end of the day, several mistakes happened that resulted in the tragic loss of life that did not have to happen. I think that the ladies that were blowing their whistles, that were in the face of the agents, made mistakes. I think that Alex, in the choice that he made to step in while they were engaging with that lady, made a mistake. I think that the one agent that pulled out his gun and fired like 15 shots, it was around 12, definitely made a mistake. And it is my hope that he answers for that. And that we have people in place that aren't going to just allow people to think that it's open season on people just because. 2 senseless shootings that got escalated because of people's decisions, not even 30-something days into this new calendar year. Wow. All right, look. Let me see what I can bring up real quick. Anybody new that I haven't put up who commented? Juan Cantu said, I'm tired of being harassed for being myself. Juan, brother, I feel for you, man. I feel for you. Right now, there are certain groups of people that, because of what's going on and how things are being portrayed, it is difficult for certain people to just walk down the street. If you are from a certain background with a certain last name, man, I don't think people can really understand what it's like. And I'm gonna say this, especially if you're a U.S. citizen. Like at the beginning of this, when I said when I was in Thailand and I got stopped and I got asked for my ID by their version of ICE, I didn't feel like any type of way because it seemed like I was targeted because I was different being in their country. I mean, it was what it was. But you could be a U.S. citizen walking down the street and you might look like somebody that's then gonna have federal agents engage with you when all you're trying to do is walk to the gas station or go inside of whatever restaurant or store that you're trying to go to. Live your life in peace and have it be disrupted. And not even by other agents, by other U.S. citizens themselves that think that you might not deserve to be here because of what you look like. Think about that. We are in a melting pot. The United States is what it is because of its history. There are some people here coming from places all over the world, not just south of us, not just north of us, but from all over the world who are bad actors. Now, it sucks for some people because of how they look. Like me, I don't look like if I were somebody from a Somalian background, but I was a U.S. citizen, like my parents came here and they immigrated in, and I look like I am first generation Somali. It would be difficult for me to just exist right now because of how the media is portraying those that are from Somali and them being bad actors. I feel for you, Juan. I do. And thanks for commenting. God Happened to Me said that he was a nurse. His entire career was built on saving. This information. The New World Order does talking about this. That's fascinating. I see that my camera's back now. All right. Michelle earlier said resistance and violence are two different things. Opie Flack when the change everything. And I can't bring up the other Yep. They're trying to get me kicked off. I think that the New World Order is coming into place. If you stuck around through that, thank you. Cut off. Internet is being messed with. The New World Orders came in and jacked me up in the stream. I want to thank everybody that tuned in and comments out there. I appreciate y'all more than you know. Y'all have a good one. I'm out. Peace.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Trumpets blare the golden call. A throne awaits, I rise so tall. Drums like thunder, shake the hall. Royal robe, I wear the weight. Diamonds cut the night, no debate. Heavy is the head, but I'm feeling great. Crown me king, crown me king. Horns will shout, let the kingdom sing. Crown me king, crown me king. Bow to the sound, feel the power I bring.